The New Level Cap podcast is a show about fun, friends, game design, and all things otherwise. Your hosts are Marco DeSantos and Brad Telton of Level 99 Games. I'm Chris Solis, your producer, and without further ado, please enjoy the show.
Wow. Welcome back, traveler, to this new episode of the New Level Cap podcast, where you will experience your metamorphosis past the realms of ignorance into the realm of knowledge about game design, Level 99 Games things, and all things otherwise. I am your spiritual design guide, Daniel, and with me is my fellow spiritual design guide,
D, aka Tirankin, or Daniel Zeiger for short.
Also Daniel. We are all Daniel, and soon you too shall be Daniel. Daniel?
Yes, Daniel.
Hello, welcome to the show. I couldn't keep up that bit. I can't. It's too mellow for me. I am not a mellow person. You know that, right?
I never would have guessed.
You never would have guessed? You know, my mom told me I was a pretty mellow kid. I do not act mellow at all. When I do the show, where I do any videos, not at all. And I have reason to believe that you are equally deceiving as well, Daniel. Are you mellow?
I can't imagine why you would say that.
Oh, really? Because it seems like you're a well-put-together person, but actually not. You are secretly an insane person hiding behind the mask of a well-put-together person.
No, I literally don't have a personality, I'm told. Yeah.
Oh, you don't?
Nope.
You are a blank slate.
No distinguishing characteristics.
I see. So you are the rice cracker of people. I don't know. Does that work? Are rice crackers bland and nothing? Are they just like nothing?
Yeah, that works. I feel that way about broccoli, but you know, some people hate broccoli for some reason.
Broccoli's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, I wouldn't eat broccoli raw, but you know, I guess to each their own? ? How did we get to broccoli?
You opened. It's not on me.
I opened. We closed. Daniel, why are you on this show right now? Who are you? For the people who have not listened to a previous episode, which already guest starred you. Why are you here? Who are you? And what are you here to talk about?
Well, I am myself and nobody else, and I'm here because basically I run organized play events. I'm not actually a tournament organizer most of the time. I have organized a few tournaments, but my shtick is that I'm crazy about Level 99 games, and so as soon as organized play started to become a thing and was announced and documents were made public, I was like, I want this to happen, and went all in. And since then, I have been doing it fairly consistently for quite a long time. That's an understatement. That's a complete understatement, Daniel. So for people who don't know, Daniel over here has been a longtime community member, overall awesome guy, overall meme lord, and linguistic expert. I don't know. You seem to have a really good grasp on the English language, which I envy because, you know, I'm a foreigner and I would like my English to be a little bit more up to snuff. But regardless, we're here for your acumen in organized play. Do you want to plug your organized play event really quick for anybody who's listening here who might be in your area and they don't even know that you have this organized play event happening? Yeah, absolutely. If anybody in the DFW area is looking for a place to play Exceed in particular, or BattleCon if you have your own materials at the moment, or Pixel Tactics, or even Temporal Odyssey, or whatever, I show up at Madness Games and Comics in Plano, Texas, every Saturday, theoretically. This Saturday I'll be at Gen Con. But every Saturday from about 2 p.m. until about midnight, which is when the store closes and they have to kick us out, there to just play whatever people want on a casual basis. And I'm happy to teach you games if you don't know how to play them, or do whatever.
And for people who don't know, let me quick plug in the sweet benefits you get. So not only will you go to this event, meet Daniel, who is a cool person, play some cool games from Level 99 Games, you will also accrue organized play points. So I feel like this would be a kind of cool way to introduce the organized play structure to people who might not even know what it is right now, or are listening to this podcast. Though I highly doubt you haven't heard about the organized play structure. If you are listening to this podcast. Regardless, the point is that you basically go to the place, you play some games, you earn some points, and get some free cards and promos for literally just playing games and feeling cool about it. Isn't that great, Daniel? Isn't
Heck
that
yeah.
great?
Absolutely. Win or lose, you get points just for participating. Registration is optional, and there's no charge whatsoever. So there's really no reason not to look into it.
Yeah, absolutely. No charge. At no charge, we will give you free promos just for playing our games. It's all cool and fine. And you know what? It's fun. Going out, meeting new people. It's always really great. Daniel, I really wanted to ask you more about your experience at Madness. How are these events usually like? People listening to this podcast might be thinking, hey, I kind of want to get into this, but is it hard? Is it tiring? Is it fun? Is it worth the effort? So what has your experience been with organized play and at least your events for at least, I don't know how long you've been doing this. 2 years? 3 years?
3 years. 2 years, 10 months.
Oh gosh, that's a long time. So what's your experience been so far, at the very least?
It has been generally excellent. There are some weeks that are more or less busy than others, and I will say that my events are they're usually not a lot of people together at one time all playing the same game. It's usually several people throughout the course of the day showing up to try things. The general shape of it is I have my regulars who show up very consistently almost every week or every other week, depending on which one. And then I have the irregulars, who are folks that I see at the store an awful lot and will usually stop by and sometimes play one game or the other, but they're not like the big BattleCon players, the big Exceed players who always want to play. But we've become acquainted over the course of always being at the store, and so sometimes they'll kind of dip in and try something. And then very, very often, I will run one-off demos for people that I see once and then never again. So I just kind of wander in, set up at a table with all the stuff in front of me, and relax for a while. The shape of it is that I'm just like some guy at a table, 3 different games in front of him. Pretty consistently, people go, are you, looking for someone to play? Are you waiting for someone? Are you running something? Which gives you an opportunity to respond with, well, I'm here basically to play anything that I've got. Or, I will be friendly. If people want to play their own games, bring them to my table. I'm not going to say they can't do that. And I always offer to teach people anything that they haven't seen before. Ideally, if people come in together, then I'll teach them by letting them try to kill each other. Otherwise, I will...
wait, in the context of the game, right? Not in real life.
Oh, sure. Yeah. We'll go with that.
Yeah, that's what we meant. Yeah, that's what we meant. That's what we completely meant. Shifty eyes.
Yeah, for those not familiar with BattleCon or Exceed, they are fighting games. For those not familiar with Pixel Tactics, you are commanding a small army. So, in those games, your object is to bring about the downfall of your opponents, causing them to faint.
Die.
Yeah.
Faint? Are we going with Pokemon language? Alright, faint. Gets shot by 12 billion volts of electricity and then impaled by a flaming stinger. Faints, quote and unquote. Alright.
Totally fine.
Sure. Yeah, totally fine. Alright, so you do something like that. You set up and you kind of get into it. As the organizer yourself, how do you feel, right? Does it get boring just showing the same game over and over again to the same people? Or just playing the same game every week with the same people? Does it ever get boring for you?
Well, no, because the games I'm playing are games that I love and that never get old for me. BattleCon and Exceed and Pixel Tactics have such ridiculous variety in what every game is like that I never tire of playing them. Even if I'm playing the same matchup against the same person 6 times in 1 week, and 6 times the next week, it's still interesting every time, because that's the beauty of how they work as fighting games, right? BattleCon and Exceed shine particularly in this regard. If you play against the same person time after time after time, it doesn't get less interesting, it gets more interesting, because you both come to understand more about each other. So my regulars have been probably the most rewarding thing about it for me, without question, because the people that I get to see on a regular basis, that we hone our skills against each other, also means that we kind of evolve to and adapt to defeat each other. So I counter their strategies, they counter my strategies, and through doing that, we both get better at the game. And it also means it never gets old, because it's not like somebody's just trying to do the same thing every time.
Because they evolve to adapt to you, right?
Exactly.
And then you evolve back. So it's like an arms race of evolution or something. Yeah, I understand that. Magic numbers were born about because of my adaptations to my friends. So, I guess we all come up with our own metagame strategies, right?
Yep.
It's pretty fun, pretty cool. Just give me one story. I want to hear one story from from your organized play organizer experience, a particular story that's been particularly funny, enjoyable, or something like that. Something you'd want to share with the audience, just to maybe, I guess, sell them on becoming organizers themselves or going to your organized play event, should they be from Texas.
Okay. So a good story, not one of the embarrassing ones.
I mean, look, if you want to tell people an embarrassing story that'll make them laugh, why not? Like, I don't know, you tirankin tacticked on someone in public and then shamed yourself.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, my favorite thing ever to do in BattleCon in real life, I do this a lot, though, there's not just one story, is that I'll set my attack and I'll set 2 or 3 more bases, and my opponent looks across the table and goes, "What's that?" And I tell them the clash chain. But that's just the thing that I like doing. No, the embarrassing story was the time that I tried to run BattleQuest for a group of newbies.
Uh-oh.
Because there was a whole bunch of people that were all like, "Yeah, this BattleCon thing seems really cool. You have all these fantasy characters. Yeah, how many people can play it?" I'm like, well, I guess technically up to like 5 if you're playing the last of the BattleQuest dungeons. But that's really for experienced players. And all of them, when I said 5, were like, "Oh, hey, there's 4 of us and there's him." And they were like looking at and picking out characters. I'm like, normally you would split up into groups of, and they're like, no, we'll do it cooperatively. We love cooperative games. I'm like, okay.
I see.
So 4 players who had never touched BattleCon before, tried to, with my guidance, take on the Beyond the Gates dungeon.
One of the actual hardest dungeon in the game.
Yeah.
So
they, so that is not, by the way, the optimal demo strategy. When you have brand new people, you don't show them the most bizarre, obscure, like variant mode of play with the strangest rule system and the least conventional ways to operate.
Yeah.
But, I do know some people who only play BattleCon cooperatively because they love the BattleQuest mode and they don't want to fight people. So it still has its upshots. It's just I realized afterwards that was a terrible mistake and I should just not mention BattleQuest to new players.
Yes. Oh, but did they enjoy the game at least?
I'll be completely honest. They were like, okay, this is much more complicated than we thought it would be when we thought it was like a 5-player cooperative game. We probably shouldn't have done this, but, thank you. They were really nice. They enjoyed the gathering and the hanging out. Yeah, there are some games that you can take 5 people and sit down and be like, all right, here, we're going to go through. It's a co-op game, and we'll play as we go, and we'll learn as we go.
BattleQuest is not one of those games.
BattleQuest is not one of those games.
Yeah, well, that's a learning for all you future organizers out there. So, embarrassing story done. Awesome story next, please. I need to end this on a high note.
All right. So the awesome story is also fairly simple because it's just that somebody showed up once upon a time, wandered by, is like, hey, what's this? It was in fact Exceed. At the time, it was Red Horizon only. 7th Cross wasn't out yet, and I had the stuff on the table, and he was like, all right, so I've played BattleCon, and it's too much brain burning for me. I'm like, oh, have you tried Exceed then? Because it's pretty much for the players who are like, I like BattleCon, but it destroys my brain cells. And he's like, no, what is this? I've never heard of it. So I demoed it for him, and he was like, he got onto it right away. He was like, whoa, this is really cool. And then the next week he came back and was like, okay, so this game is awesome. Do you sell it? I'm like, do I sell? I'm not a store employee. I'm just some guy who wandered in off the street, But it's probably on shelves, and I showed him where the boxes were, and he was like, okay, tell me about these characters. And I told him about all the characters in all the boxes. They were missing 1 box, I think, of the first 4. And he bought everything he could right then. And then I didn't see him for a while, and I was like, oh, well, I hope he liked it, but, I was hoping he would come back and play more, right? Like, I want to play more with these people.
Yeah.
Months later, I was walking by the store, and somebody like waved at me, and I was like, "Oh, hey, it's you!" And he's like, "Yeah, come over here." So we're looking at 7th Cross. Tell us about the 7th Cross characters. And I had printed out some demos to preview, and I showed him the ones I had: Taisei and Selinka and Minato was hype. Everyone was hype for Minato.
Of course. He was like, why wouldn't you be? He's a card.
Yep. And he told me, he's like, yeah, we're all looking forward to it. I'm like, what do you mean you're all looking forward to it? He's like, oh, well, I took the boxes that I bought here, and I took them to my group that plays all these other card games, and we started playing it a whole ton ourselves and set up our own scene. And we don't come to Madness very often, but we've now got our own group going on. So I found out that my little demo got to spawn a new meta in their scene, and that's the most exciting thing, is realizing that like someone else is getting to build their own play environments because they wandered by your table and learned how to play.
It's like force multipliers, like Green Berets or something like that. That's so cool. Oh,
I
do I know this person?
I think it was.
Are
just
they
like
on Discord?
They, as far as I know, they're not in Discord.
Dang, that means there's an entire sect of Exceed players I don't even know about.
Yeah, there are whole branches of physical Exceed players that never touch the Discord. That one large group local to me, there's another one that's out in Fort Worth that I know of that I occasionally run into, and like one of them's on the Discord, but the rest aren't, and they're not really interested in being part of the online community because it's just like the game that they play against each other.
It's not like there's a Monopoly community, right? Like it's just that like
Right.
most people who play Monopoly, it is just the thing that is in the house when they hang out, right?
Right.
So I guess I understand that completely. Daniel, thank you so much for sharing your stories, and I'm pretty sure people would like to hear more from you, but we need to take a short itsy bitsy break, and then we can go talk about, how you do this. How do you even get started on organized play, and some possible challenges and some tips and tricks that you can give us for starting your own organized play scene. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
All right, shoot us to the break, Chief.
Imperial Spells and Steam is releasing at Gen Con. Vial for mystical resources. Hire skilled specialists. Research new tech. And build railways to industrialize a vast fantasy realm. Grab your copy at our booth and get it signed by designer Trey Chambers. We look forward to seeing you there.
Residence is going to be the next season. I can't believe that was actually confirmed. Oh, wait, that's not supposed to be announced until the week after.
Daniel,
is it?
Daniel, you've done it again. Why do you always continue to spoil things inadvertently, and why do I still keep them after I do the edits?
I edited my YouTube videos to remove all traces. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so who are you excited for in this new season?
I am really looking forward to... we can't name the characters, right? So I'm just going to say that it rhymes with a track Olama.
A track? I don't even know who you're referring to. I'm just going to say the character's name right now, okay?
Okay.
And then I'm just going to bleep it out in editing. The character that I'm most excited for is Naruto. We're going to go invade Area 51. It's actually Area 51 Exceed. That's the new season. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I mean, you told me right before we skipped to the...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, I accidentally forgot to tell you that we shouldn't talk about Area 51 Exceed, but it's happened, so confirmed, Area 51 Exceed. You do live in Texas, right? That's kind of near where Area 51 is, so you have all the sweet knowledge about all these new characters that are popping up.
Cannot confirm or deny.
Yeah, cannot confirm or deny. Hey, Dan, can we make it very clear to everybody listening that Area 51 Exceed isn't the next season?
Oh, are we? I saw there was a Reddit post about season 4 being U.S. presidents, though.
Oh my gosh.
Completely trustworthy source.
completely accurate and trustworthy source.
Yeah,
totally not just fan made.
It was the day before April 2nd.
Yeah. April 0, I think. Pretty good day.
Yeah,
we got some presidents. My favorite one is Obama because he can play infinite readings. Can he still do that?
No, he doesn't have reading in his kit anymore.
Oh, dang. All right.
They
so
all
for
gotta be
people who don't
balanced.
know, Daniel was one of the people, or rather the person, who spawned President Succeed, a fan-made set with characters who are just the presidents of the United States, I guess.
And the Pope is a promo.
The Pope is a promo? All right. Which one? Francis?
Both the current and the previous Pope, because he exceeds from the previous Pope into the current Pope.
I'm done. All right. Let's quit this conversation. I love every second of it, but let's move on back to organized play.
All right.
So, by the way, for people who are kind of annoyed at that teaser, again, as per the last episode of the podcast, we will be announcing the newest season of Exceed, like for real this time, post-Gen Con. So just wait for it and we'll be fine. All right, Daniel, let's talk about some organized play. how did you get started on this? I mean, like, I know that you started off with, yeah, this is pretty cool, I'll try it out myself, but, like, that's just the beginning, right? Like, how do the logistics happen? How do you find a store that will let you just sit there and plop a bunch of games?
Well, in my local area, it's very common for stores to have just free play time where people can show up and play games. And some stores have libraries. Actually, most stores have libraries where you can play their games. But regardless, the thing that I was looking for was just places where they don't care if you wander in and sit down and play games. Because obviously that's what I needed. Just a venue, right? Like that people can find and that I don't need to like pay money to book.
Yeah.
Now, I know that in some parts of the country, in certain cities, that's like not a thing that's nearly as easy to find. But in my case, in DFW, it's very normal to just be able to find a game store that will let you sit down and play your games. Because they know generally on the way out, you're going to go, oh, this looks cool, and you'll buy something from them on the way.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yep. In my specific example, there were a few different stores that I kind of scouted out. I ended up posting on Board Game Geek, actually, that I was like, that organized play season is here, or the preseason, actually, was when I posted it. And I was looking for a place to host, and was anybody interested? And there was one guy who said, yeah, I'm all in, I'll do it. Sure. Let me know where it is. And that was what I needed. So I set up, I was like, okay, it looks like Madness Games and Comics in Plano is the place that was most convenient to where I was living, and also had the largest area, so there was less chance of us getting in anyone else's way if the store wanted to do something else with the space. So I actually initially sent an email to the store. Well, I showed up in person, asked like who was their events person, like who handled event management and coordinating space and stuff. And then I got hold of that person via email because he wasn't there at the time. And what he said at the time was, we don't care if you show up and play games, we're not going to reserve space for you. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. That's all I need. Like, I don't like need a reservation. As long as it's okay for me to show up, then I'll take what room I can get. I don't want to be trouble. Like, I don't want to be trouble for anyone. I don't want to get anyone's way. And that's exactly what I did. So I started showing up on Saturdays. I started announcing it on Board Game Geek, and then I stopped announcing it, but kept doing it. And weekend after weekend, I would show up with that same guy who said he was interested, who would be there every week, and a few other folks would show up from time to time because they knew it was happening. After about a year, after the first season, so that was the preseason. After the first season, that was when, actually, you might remember this. You and Brad both contacted me about the organized play system.
Yep.
About the quote-unquote server error. So, and Brad asked, because Brad, like, realized how many events I was running and asked, is there anything that Level 99 could do to help? Because I had been running events consistently. It was just that the events were, me sitting down in the store with my personal collection and whatever advertisements I had paid to print out and whoever felt like showing up. He was like, well,
yep.
Is there anything that we could do to help? And I was like, something. I'll ask the store what they'll allow. And I messaged the store, and they said they would not allow any signage, but they would allow a table cover. And I'm absurdly proud of my Level 99 Games table cover that was sent to me by Brad. And
it's beautiful.
Yep.
Oh man, now I need a picture of this so we can post it on the show notes.
Oh, I'll send it. I'm very proud of that table cover.
All right.
But yeah, that even more so was an eye catcher. People walk by and they'd be like, "Oh, this person is like with Level 99 Games. Like they're doing this thing." And I'm like, "Yes, it's an official event. I'm here, and you can learn these games from somebody who really knows how to play them. Happy to teach them. No, I don't sell them, but you can go buy them from the store," which of course the store likes me saying things like that.
Get on the good side. Get on the good side.
Yeah.
Yes, you're in.
Well, that's actually that's something that I should probably mention is that my folks, we were always very well behaved, because I don't know, I wanted to be courteous to the store folks. We never made a mess. I always cleaned up after myself, and actually I would often clean up after tables near me because I'm like, I don't want to be even suspected of causing trouble. So
yeah,
once upon a time, it happened that there was a lot of trash being left behind at nearby tables due to players of a certain other or a certain trading card game, because they were opening packs and just tossing rubbish on the grounds. And store employees really, really don't like it when you do that, by the way. That is not a good thing to do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure anybody wouldn't like it if you just trashed in their place of business, but...
Yep. So this happened one week, and then the next week, it looked like it was starting to happen again. So a store employee came over to them and was like, and just to the whole section of tables, including where I was and several other people were, announced that if there was trash left behind again that day, they would be like not allowing people to be sitting in this area and doing open gaming, because they did it, purely at their own discretion. They don't have to let people come in and play games. If you make it more trouble for them than it's worth, then they'll just kick us out. And I'm like,
oh, rip.
Okay, well, that's fair. So I started going around and cleaning up the trash after the other folks left. There wasn't much. They did better that week. But
I was like, good enough, apparently.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, man, I'm gonna help and clean up and make sure that the store is nice. One of the store employees stopped me and was like, hey, you don't need to worry about it. I was like, y'all said that you were worried about the trash being left behind. He's like, yeah, but we know who's who. We know who's behaving and being responsible and who isn't. So you and your folks that play are fine. You don't have to worry about it. Y'all, go home.
Nice. Good noodle star.
Yeah. And then I also had another day where somebody like wandered over to my table and was like, hey, I heard you can tell me about this. And I think it was Pixel Tactics was the game. He's like, I heard you can tell me about Pixel Tactics. I'm like, yeah, sure. We went over it. And a little bit later, a store employee came by and was like, hey, how'd it go with that guy I sent over earlier? And that was how I found out the store employees had started to point people in my direction, because they knew I would teach them if games that they're interested in if I had those games. And I was just always friendly and available and personable, never rude. That's the kind of thing that you want to have if you can, where the store employees like you and they know that you are well behaved and respectful. That is the best thing you can have, because then you're golden. I've never made trouble for them.
Yeah, that's very important, right? It's going to be really hard. So on your checklist, you need to have a venue, you need to be personable and likable, and you need to be on the good side of the people who own the venue. All of these things sound like common sense, but I think it still needs to be said, right?
They sound like common sense, but if your group gets in and you're all going hard on fighting each other, it's easy to forget that you're in a place maintained by other people, other humans that you need to respect. Getting too intensely focused on your own game and forgetting that there are other people around is something I've seen a lot of groups do. That it's really easy to do because we get carried away, we get excited about what we're doing, especially in a really competitive game like BattleCon. But being mindful of especially the store and its employees and places that allow the kind of thing that, like I said, open gaming areas are not everywhere. They're very common locally. They're like a normal thing locally, but they're not everywhere. And if you can find one of those things where folks will just let you come in and play, then you need to be as kind and good as you can to the people who are letting you do it.
Yeah, I mean, because they literally are letting you do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely great. Daniel, so I think we've talked about a lot of the stuff that you've had to do in order to maintain your organized play. Are there any challenges that you've had to face in terms of keeping an organized play session going on for week in and week out for over the course of almost 3 years?
Absolutely. The hardest thing to come, the hardest thing didn't happen at the beginning. So at the very beginning, the hardest thing for me was actually learning what it was like to be at a table ready to demo games, because it's a strange experience when you have never done it. Because I'm like, should I be talking to people walking by? Should I be accosting strangers? Should I be asking people if they want to play? I couldn't tell if I was supposed to not look at people, if I was supposed to be looking at people, if I was supposed to be addressing strangers, or should I keep to myself? All these things of this is a different social situation than most. I don't know the rules. And I finally, after, 6 months to a year, realized and started to get comfortable with the rules are simple. The rules are relax. If people are interested in what you have at the table, they will ask you about it, because that's how it works. If somebody sees somebody who's not in the middle of a game, who has games at the table, they'll go, oh, what are these games? I'm interested in them. And I don't have to go and accost people and make them play BattleCon. I can just wait, and the people who are interested will come over.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing I had to learn, but it wasn't actually the harder thing. The harder thing came.
What was?
The harder thing came when my one regular, the guy said they got the first responder on that Board Game Geek post, his schedule changed. And he stopped being able to make it to my events. And I thought, oh, well, that's really unfortunate. I'll keep doing it, though. Like, that, I mean, you know, it's fine. There's still other people who show up, and but no one who's as faithful and as regular as that person. And I'm always happy to demo for strangers. And what I found out was it stopped being worth the cost for me. I mean, the stress and the emotional cost of going out and sitting at a store for hours on end, doing nothing. It was surprisingly draining for me personally. As I'm an extrovert, I want to be interacting with people. Sitting around like waiting for someone to interact with and having no one show up for a long time was really, really draining. So I stopped doing it for a while. I just felt like it wasn't worth it to head out there because I had no guarantee of anyone showing up. So the thing that I decided was actually really important to me was knowing someone would be there made all the difference, even if it was just one person, because then it wasn't a wasted trip. When I started having trips that felt like they were wasted trips, that's when I started to go, maybe I just stopped doing this.
So what pushed you past that? I mean, because you're still doing them now, right?
I'm still doing them
must
now.
have gotten
the thing that happened was I changed my events to sync up with the times that were better for him. So I when I started doing it, it was 10:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now it's 2 p.m. to midnight. And that's because I needed to be sure that someone would show up. So I set it at a time that I could guarantee that. Because if I couldn't guarantee that, it wasn't going to be sustainable for me.
And I think that's one very important point that I want to point out as an employee of Level 99 Games is that organized play is something you enter into willingly. It's not a job, right? It is not some sort of cosmic responsibility you have towards the company. It's just something you want to do if you want to have fun and get some prizes and, you know, promos to boot when you do all of this stuff. It's something you should do and enjoy doing. So I think it's very important that you said that thing where I changed it so that it was sustainable for me, right? A lot of people fall into this trap, I think at the very least, that they fall into this trap where they suddenly feel like they have to do this specific thing at a specific time in a specific way, or else it's not correct, as if suffering validates their struggles. You know what I mean? But at the very end of the day, it should be sustainable and fun for you. It's organized play, right? Play is supposed to be fun.
Yep. I actually changed my signage at one point from organized play to free play. Because when people saw organized play, they were like, oh, I guess he's going to run a tournament or something, and they'd keep walking. So I changed my signage and scribbled out the organized because it gave the wrong impression. Because ultimately I was like, no, I don't want people walking away. I want people going, hey, sure, we'll join in. Because that's what makes it worth it to me. You know, one person in 6 hours makes it worth it.
Oh, that sounds so nice. One person in 6 hours makes it worth it. That should be like the title of your memoir. You know, like, one person in 6 hours makes it worth it. But Daniel, I'm really glad that we got to talk today, and I'm really glad you got to share some of your experiences with us. Are there any last-minute tips you want to give to any budding organizer out there before we end this show?
I mean, I think we covered the big ones, which are be kind of respectful to your hosts if you can find them. And you know, have someone that you know will be there if at all possible. Like, my one regular is the reason that I'm still doing this 3 years later, give or take, because there have been so many weeks that he's shown up, willing to play, ready to play, looking forward to it.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. How about I give everybody a tip? Just do it. A lot of people have come to me asking about organized play and all of their hesitations and all this stuff, asking all of these questions, which is good, right? You want to know what you're getting into. But some people ask so many questions to the point where I'm just like, it's just obvious that this person is just hesitating and, you know, just not actually quite sure. Just do it. Just try it once.
Let me also say this. It's not that hard. I'm not a very organized person in general in life, and I don't keep super good track of things in a lot of ways, but, you know, I can show up and I can play games, and I can write down on a piece of paper who played who, how many times, and then I can remember to submit that information in a few months or so. And that's it. That's like all you have to do. I didn't have to learn a lot of special rules. I just played games with people. Being an organizer sounds fancy. It's super, super simple. Just do it.
Yeah. And we at Level 99 Games are working to make the organizer experience that much better with an updated fields on the website, easier organized player rules, because the organized player rules before were rough. And finally, some special treats for all you organizers out there that you'll find out about soon enough. So I'd like to thank again Daniel Zeiger, the man, the tirankin, for being here on this very wonderful episode about organized play. Daniel, is there anything you want to say before I close out the show?
Anything at all?
Anything at all. I mean, within reason, of course.
Oh, well, okay. If any of you who hear this are going to be at Gen Con, fight me. With Exceed.
Okay, again, right. We do not endorse assaulting other people. I do endorse assaulting people from range 3 when you're on offense, though. It's really good.
EX Assault, actually.
Yeah, EX Assault, even better. Yeah, but outside of that, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the New Level Cap podcast. As usual, this is me, your host, Marco DeSantos, also known as the Mechanic Critic, and with me has been my amazing Daniel of a co-host.
D, aka Tirankin, or Daniel Zeiger for short.
Yes. Should I say co-host? I mean, technically, you are both the guest and the co-host for this episode since Brad's not here. So, welcome. Temporary Dan Brad.
Thank you, temporary Daniel Marco.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I hope you all enjoyed this podcast. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, check out the comment section down below and type it out there. Without much else to say, don't forget your special switch style. And thank you, World of Indians. Thank you, and good night.
Happy gaming!
The New Level Cap podcast is produced by Level 99 Games. Join us next Wednesday for more design talk and shenanigans. Thank you for listening.